Temperature and its measurement. Wrong measurements are worse than no measurements at all. Lambok and his elder sister Phoebe live in Shillong. One day, they came home from school. Their parents were away at work and Lambok complained that he was feeling feverish. Phoebe touched his forehead and felt that he might be having fever. To confirm this, she took out the thermometer kept in the almirah. She washed its tip with soap and water and measured Lambok's temperature. To her relief, she found that his temperature was normal. She washed the thermometer tip again, dried it and put it back. She then asked Lambok to change his school uniform, eat his lunch and rest for some time. Can it always be correctly judged that a person has fever only by touching the person, hot or cold? We know from experience that some bodies are hotter than others. For example, during summers, the tap water may be hotter than the cold water from a matka, earthen pot, or a refrigerator. We can realize this by merely touching the two samples of water. But can we always rely upon our sense of touch? Let us find out. Let us investigate. Take three large containers and label them A, B and C as shown in the figure. Pour warm water in container A, tap water in B and ice cold water in C. We will conduct this activity in two parts, prediction and observation. Firstly, predict what will you feel if you dip your right hand in A and left hand in C and keep them there for 2 minutes. Take out your hands from containers A and C and place both hands simultaneously in B. Write down your predictions. What will my right hand feel on dipping in B? What will my left hand feel on dipping in B? Now conduct the activity and write your observations. Compare whether your observations match with your predictions. Did your right hand feel that the water in container B is cool while your left hand felt that the same water is warm? What do you infer from these observations? We cannot always rely upon our sense of touch to decide correctly whether a body is hot or cold. Then how do we find out how hot or cold a body is? Temperature. A reliable measure of hotness or coldness of a body is its temperature. A hotter body has a higher temperature than a colder body. The difference in temperature between the two bodies tells us how hot a body is in comparison to another body. A device that measures temperature is called a thermometer. There are two kinds of thermometers that you are likely to come across: clinical thermometers and laboratory thermometers. Clinical thermometers are used to measure human body temperature, whereas laboratory thermometers are used for many other purposes. Let us now learn more about thermometers and how to use them to measure temperature. Measuring temperature. Clinical thermometer. You might be familiar with a thermometer like that shown in the figure, which is used for measuring our body temperature. It is called a clinical thermometer. Such thermometers show temperatures digitally. These are also known as digital clinical thermometers and run on batteries. These measure temperature when the thermometer is placed in contact with a person's body. For measuring temperature, the clinical thermometer generally use a scale called a Celsius scale. On this scale, the unit of temperature is degree Celsius and is denoted by degree Celsius. Earlier, Mercury thermometers were used for measuring the body temperature, but mercury is an extremely toxic substance and is difficult to dispose of if the thermometer breaks accidentally. Digital thermometers pose no such risk, and also the numbers in its display are easier to read. Therefore, mercury thermometers are being replaced by digital thermometers. Temperature in a digital thermometer is determined with the help of heat sensors. During the COVID-19 pandemic, some special thermometers were used, which could measure the temperature of a person from a distance. What were those? They are non-contact thermometers, also called infrared thermometers. Such thermometers can measure temperature without touching a person's body and thus reduce the risk of spreading disease. Let us measure. Let us now use a digital clinical thermometer to measure body temperature. You may measure your own temperature as well as the temperature of some of your friends. Talk to your friends to find out who could be willing to get their body temperatures measured by you. Wash your hands and the tip of the digital thermometer with soap and water. Reset the thermometer by pressing the reset button. Place the thermometer under the tongue and close your mouth. Wait till the thermometer makes a beeping sound or flashes a light. Take it out from the mouth and read the temperature on the digital display. Record the temperature in table. Clean the tip of the thermometer with soap and water and dry it. Repeat the above steps for measuring the temperatures of your friends. Precautions to be taken while using a digital clinical thermometer. To be used after reading the instruction manual of the thermometer. Tip of the thermometer to be washed with soap and water before and after use. While washing, care to be taken to keep the digital portion such as the display out of water. Do not hold the thermometer by the tip. The normal temperature of a healthy human body is taken to be 37 degrees Celsius. But in this activity, did you find that the normal temperature of every person was 37 degrees Celsius? Or did you find the temperature slightly higher or lower for some people? The temperature of every person may be 37 degrees Celsius. What we call normal temperature is the average body temperature of a large number of healthy people. A perfectly healthy person may therefore have a normal temperature slightly different from 37 degrees Celsius. The body temperature is influenced by several factors such as age, time of the day, and activity level. You may try measuring your own temperature at different times of the day and on different days. Record the thermometer reading in your notebook. After a month, analyze your temperature record and see if there are any variations. If yes, try to think what might be the reasons for that. The temperature of human beings does not normally go below 35 degrees Celsius or above 42 degrees Celsius. For measuring the body temperature of small children or old people, the digital thermometer can also be placed in the armpit. The temperature measured this way is about 0.5 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Celsius lower than the actual body temperature. There is another scale of temperature known as Fahrenheit scale. On this scale, the unit of temperature is degree Fahrenheit and is denoted by degree Fahrenheit. A temperature measured as 37 degrees Celsius on Celsius scale is equivalent to 98 degree Fahrenheit on Fahrenheit scale. The Fahrenheit scale is not used in most scientific studies anymore. In scientific work, there is another scale of temperature known as Kelvin scale. On this scale, the unit for temperature is Kelvin and is denoted by small k. capital K. The SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Do small children generally have slightly higher body temperatures as compared to adults? Do older people, even when healthy, generally have lower body temperatures than young adults? I have seen a friend of mine using a digital thermometer that reads temperature on a different scale. It shows the normal temperature of a healthy human body as 98 degree Fahrenheit. What is the reason for this difference? All three temperature scales, Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin, are named in honor of the scientist who developed these scales, who can easily convert the temperature from Celsius scale to Kelvin scale by using temperature in Kelvin scale is equal to temperature in Celsius scale plus 273. The names of temperature scales, Celsius scale, Fahrenheit scale, and Kelvin scale, start with a capital letter. For the units for temperature, degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit, the word degree starts with lowercase letter, while Celsius and Fahrenheit start with a capital letter. The unit Kelvin starts with a lowercase letter. The symbols of all units, degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, Kelvin, are capital letters. Note that degree sign 0 is not written with K. A full stop is not written after the symbol, except at the end of a sentence. While writing the temperature, the space is left between the number and the unit. For temperatures more than 1 degree, use the plural of degree, that is degrees, while writing the full form of the unit. How was fever detected before thermometers were developed? Fever affected the pulse rate of a person. This was known even in olden days in India. However, apart from fever, some other situations also affect the pulse rate. Hence, a pulse rate alone is not a reliable indicator of fever. Can a clinical thermometer be used for measuring the temperature of boiling water or for measuring the temperature of ice? No, the temperature of boiling water and ice are outside the range of a clinical thermometer. How can we measure temperature beyond the range of a clinical thermometer? Laboratory thermometer. There are many types of laboratory thermometers, but the one that might be available in your school laboratory may look like the one shown in the figure. It consists of a long, narrow, uniform glass tube which is sealed. At one end of the tube is a bulb which contains a liquid. Outside the bulb, in the tube, a narrow column of liquid can be seen. There is a Celsius scale marked along the tube. The liquid column rises or falls with change in temperature. The mark of the Celsius scale with which the top level of the liquid column coincide is the temperature reading. The liquid used in the laboratory thermometer is generally alcohol, colored red to make it easily seen, or mercury. Let us observe. Let us try to find the temperature range of a given laboratory thermometer. Take a laboratory thermometer and observe it carefully. Note down the following. What is the lowest temperature it can measure? What is the highest temperature it can measure? So the range of this temperature is. Now look at the thermometer shown in the figure carefully. Can you tell its range? Its range is from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Precaution to be taken while using a laboratory thermometer. Handle with care. If it hits against some hard object, it can break. Do not hold it by the bulb. Let us observe and calculate. Let us now try to find the smallest value that a given laboratory thermometer can read. Again, take the same laboratory thermometer which you used in the activity and observe it carefully. Note down the following. How much is the temperature difference indicated between the two bigger marks? How many divisions shown by smaller marks are there between these two bigger marks? How much temperature does one small division indicate? So the smallest value that the thermometer can read shows a close-up of a part of the thermometer shown in the figure. Can you now find the smallest value that this thermometer can read? For the thermometer shown in the figure, the thermometer difference indicated between 0 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees Celsius or between 10 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius is 10 degrees Celsius, and the number of divisions between these marks are 10 divisions. So one small division can read 10 divided by 10 is equal to 1 degree Celsius. That is, the smallest value that this thermometer can read is 1 degree Celsius. Your school laboratory may have thermometers for which the range and the value of the smallest division may be different. It is therefore always necessary to look carefully at the thermometer you are about to use. You have learnt how to find the thermometer range of a given laboratory thermometer. You have also learnt how to find the smallest value that a given laboratory thermometer can read. We will now learn how to measure temperature using a laboratory thermometer. But let us first learn how to use a laboratory thermometer correctly. Correct way of measuring thermometer using a laboratory thermometer. When the thermometer is immersed in water, its bulb should not touch the bottom or the sides of the beaker. The thermometer should be held vertically. It should not be tilted. The temperature must be read while the thermometer is immersed in water. While reading the thermometer, the eye should be directly in line with the level of the liquid column to be read. Let us measure. Take some warm water in a beaker. Dip the thermometer in water so that the bulb is immersed in water. Can we use a laboratory thermometer for measuring body temperature of a person? Observe the rise of liquid column in the thermometer. Wait till the column stops rising and note the temperature. Do not wait too long, otherwise the water itself will start to cool. What is the temperature of water measured by you? Compare it with the readings of your friends. Do you notice that as soon as you take the thermometer out of the water, the level of liquid column begins to fall? This means that the temperature must be read while the thermometer is immersed in water. Following two experimental setups are to be arranged by your teacher. One by one, as per your turn, go closer to the setups and observe the readings of both the thermometers. What are the temperatures of ice and boiling water? Caution. This activity should be performed strictly only under the supervision of the teacher. Do not touch the experimental setups. Read the temperatures of ice and boiling water again after some time. Are the temperatures same or have changed? You may have noticed that the temperature of water remains constant while it is boiling. Also, the temperature of ice remains constant while it is melting. Let us compare. Phoebe's science teacher arranged the experimental setup for measuring temperature of boiling water. The temperature readings of the boiling water taken by Phoebe and her classmates in Shillong are given. Compare the temperatures of boiling water recorded by different students. Why are these differences in their readings? Discuss the possible reasons amongst yourselves. Maybe the correct way of reading temperature was not followed by all the students. Air temperature. You might have seen thermometers, such as the one shown in the figure, hung on walls of your school laboratory, doctors, clinic, and hospitals. These give an appropriate idea of the room temperature. Have you seen weather reports in newspapers, TV news, or internet? These reports also mention the maximum and minimum air temperature of the body. Let us analyze. Read or listen to the weather reports for a place for 10 successive days. Record the maximum and minimum air temperature for each day in table. Analyze the data in the table. Does the maximum and minimum temperature stay at the same level during these days? Because weather depends on several factors. These temperatures usually vary every day. Generally, as we approach the summer season, the temperature rises, and during the winter season it falls. There are many techniques for measuring air temperature. Air temperature is an important weather parameter and is monitored at weather stations all over the world. The data gathered on air temperature along with various other parameters are used for making weather forecast. Know a scientist. Anna Mani, 1918 to 2001, was an Indian scientist also known as Weather Woman of India. She invented and built a large number of weather measurement instruments. This reduced the reliance of India on other nations for such instruments. She also explored the possibilities of using wind and solar energy in India. Her work helped India to become one of the global leaders in renewable energy. The temperature of a body tells us how hot or cold it is. The three most used scales of temperature are the Celsius scale, the Fahrenheit scale, and the Kelvin scale. The units of temperature in these scales are degree Celsius, denoted by degree Celsius C, degree Fahrenheit, denoted by degree F, and Kelvin, denoted by K. The SI unit for temperature is Kelvin. A clinical thermometer is used for measuring body temperature. Normal temperature of healthy human adult is taken to be 37 degrees Celsius or 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Laboratory thermometers typically have a thermometer range from -10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius.